This exercise is going to help you open up some of the tissues under your arm, like your lat, to improve your ability to get your arm overhead for any overhead exercises, or just generally to have better shoulder flexion for a healthier, happier shoulder. So this exercise you can do up against the wall, or I'm going to show you with a squat rack. If you do it up against a wall, you would just have your hand here, but I like to use the squat rack because I do like to hold on. It allows me to leverage the exercise a little bit more, so I can leverage my own body position and just kind of find a line of tissue that feels better. Either way works. The other thing I want to keep in mind is this is going to start with a stretch. So we're going to learn how to actively find a stretch, which is an active skill. And then from there, we're going to do some PAILs rails. If this is for your program, depending on what your program says, you might not do the stretch. You might just go into the PAILs and rails so you can skip the stretch. So here's how we're going to find this stretch. If we're going to do the right shoulder, you're going to grab the squat rack here. We're going to lean back into a nice deep stretch. So we're thinking about dropping our chest so that our shoulder kind of goes up overhead. You might feel some stretching in your back, which is totally fine, but we're really aiming for stretching here. So you're trying to think about dropping down so you can get a nice deep stretch here. We definitely do not want to feel any pinching in the shoulder joint overhead. If you do, this stretch is not for you. It's not a good place for you to start. We don't want to push into that. If you want to increase the intensity of the stretch underneath and through here, you can also drop your torso towards that side as well. We can get a nice deep position here, which can feel really good. And then from here, you're going to hold for the prescribed amount of time. So we want to find the intensity, starting low, building that intensity up, and then holding for at least 30 to 60 seconds, working up to that 2-minute stretch. As you're here, I want you to think about inhaling into this side rib cage, exhaling and sinking into that stretch a little bit, just to get a little bit more work on opening that side up. Once you've held the stretch, we're going to do PAILs and rails. So PAILs is going to be starting with contracting the stuff that is being stretched. So we're going to think about driving the squat rack down, or driving our arm down into the wall. Think about driving the wall down. And then rails is going to be the opposite, pulling into a deeper stretch. No movement should happen, but we should feel the muscles working to start to build some strength in those tissues and open up a little bit more flexibility and mobility at our end range. So again, find that end range position. Starting with PAILs, we're going to drive the arm down. Think about doing this motion. So think about bringing our arm straight down. Ramp that intensity up slowly to the desired amount. So we're going to start at a light, like 10 to 20%. Ramp up towards that percentage, whether it's moderate or high, over that 10 to 15 seconds. Then holding at the desired amount for 10 to 15 seconds, or whatever your program says. Slowly then ramp down. Now rails is going to be thinking about lifting the shoulder up while actively dropping down. So you're actively kind of pulling yourself deeper into a stretch, and you're ramping that up just the same way we did PAILs. Start light, work up to the desired intensity over 10 to 15 seconds. Hold for another 10 to 15 seconds, and then relax. And then you can either come out of it, because that would be one round of PAILs rails, or you might do another set after that, depending on what your training day looks like. But that is going to be your lat stretch with PAILs rails. Make sure that you are consistent with it and slowly trying to progress the intensity and the duration of your stretch. And over time, you should see quite a bit of mobility gains.